This comes to me through a friend of a friend, Scott, who is a vacuum flow dealer in Utica, New York. And this is nothing that I've ever seen or heard of before, but he has traded in a few of these that were installed in the 60s and 70s around New York. And as you can see, it's a very interesting thing. Looks like something that the U.S. Postal Service would install on your street corner. Company was out of Whitesboro, New York, and this is, I think, one of those companies that made their own unit and then installed it. They kind of had control of the process. Inside here, when you open this, and I believe this would have been a, well, I don't know, I was going to say this seems like an enclosure that you would just buy, like a locker or something, but they may have made it themselves. I mean, they had to make some other sheet metal components. This thing has a little cover that you remove to access the motor. Standard Lam 115334 motor. And you can see that it's plugged in here, and there's a fuse. And then this cord that would have been hardwired originally into a relay box has been fitted with a plug just for testing. But for all the space inside this thing, they chose not to put the relay and the transformer in here. It would have been a separate box on the wall, so that's interesting. This unit is cyclonic. It works very much like a vacuum flow. And so to empty it after you've removed the door, you take the bucket out, and there is a cone inside the bucket which you can remove. This has all got some corrosion on it, so it fits on a little ledge there. So your bucket capacity is really only about a third of the actual height of this bucket is all you'd want to fill it up. And then inside here you have an interesting kind of baffle, and then there's a screen underneath, as I mentioned, like a vacuum flow. And one interesting thing is the earliest design of this, which Scott has traded in, at least one of that example, was a cylinder. It looked very much like a vacuum flow H20 or a 26, and I wonder if they changed the design just to stay away from vacuum flow finding out about them and saying, hey, wait a minute, because this may have been an infringement on the Cyclonic patent. Even though this is a much different design, it still has that tapering of the cone here. And in fact, I believe that the Clean-O-Matic is the same story. They may have been in infringement and they chose to stop making it. But in any case, oh, here's the Model AV4, serial number C-186, All Vac Products Inc., Whitesboro, New York. So I'm not going to put this back together on camera. It's hard enough taking it apart with one hand. But one interesting thing about this is previously I thought that your only metal central vac pipe options were threaded iron pipe or steel tube. Well, these systems were installed, even though they used PVC fittings, they used aluminum tubing, and I've got a section of it here. So it's nice and light. It's obviously the same size, and they used plyo bond to glue it into each fitting. So it's not a solvent weld, but it's a fairly solid connection. And I'm assuming that All Vac made the choice to do their systems this way because the PVC fittings were nice and heavy, but the PVC tubing was so light and brittle. And you know, if the PVC tubing that was available at the time was only the recycled stuff, or the mold was poor quality or something, then you would have had trouble with cracking and breaking inside the walls, and that's not a good thing. So yeah, really interesting. Every day's a school day. Did not know about aluminum tubing until now, and did not know about the All Vac units until Scott very kindly sent me one to go home with me. And for that I'm thankful, and now it lives here.